Hello viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am Amr Anisajaman, Assistant Teacher English, Ghatail Cantonment Public School and College. Today I am here with a new presentation on passage narration. Okay, before going to the main session, I would like to tell about the very difference between passage narration and sentence narration. So, for the first time, I would like to tell about a sentence. What is a sentence? You know, a sentence is the sum of some words with a meaning. Okay, so sentence is the sum of some words, or some words make a sentence, but it must have a meaning. And now, what is the very definition of passage? Okay, a passage is the sum of some sentences. Okay, one sum of one there is the sum of some sentences. It will be a passage narration. It will be a passage. Okay, so, passage narration, the basic difference between sentence narration and passage narration is that in sentence narration, some several sentences will be asked, or the students will have to sense the separate sentences. Okay, and in passage narration, there will be some sentences woven together, and then students will have to make them direct narration or indirect narration. Okay. So now let us have a discussion, good discussion sentence passage narration, because many of the students fear it, and even after reading several times, students can't be able to do well here in this section. So my dear students, watch the video very carefully and look and listen to what I am going to say today, and I hope it will really help you a lot, and I think you will be able to overcome the problems of passage narration. Okay, my dear students, let's proceed. So, roles of passage narration. To change direct speech into indirect speech, some rules are followed. Okay, I have already said that the very precondition of knowing passage narration is that you will have to know the rules of sentence narration. After knowing the rules of sentence narration, then you will have to study on the rules of passage narration. And in previous classes you have learned the rules of sentence narration, and in my other videos you will get the rules of sentence narration, but here I am with the rules of passage narration. Okay, rule 1. By reading the passage carefully, identify the speaker, the listener, tense, number, gender, and person of the sentence. The first and foremost rule is that you will have to read the passage very carefully to identify the speaker and the listener. That means who is speaking and who is listening. Okay, you know it will be sensed. And at the same time, you will have to mark the tenses very well, because the tense will be sensed. Number, gender, and person of the sentences, because these are the basic things that will be changed, and that is why after reading the passage very carefully you will have to identify these things. That means the speaker, the listener, tense, number, gender, and persons of the sentence. Okay, rule 2. If the reporting speech is after the direct speech, in indirect speech it is set beginning of the at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, sometimes you may find the fact that reporting verb is given after the reported speech, but actually when you learned the rules of sentence narration, you have always seen the fact that reporting verb is before the reported speech, but in passage narration you may find the fact that reporting verbs are after the reporting verb is after the reported speech. So at that time your action should be to set the reporting verb before the reported speech. Okay, let's have an example. Here, direct speech, it will be decided after as a discussion. Said the teacher. As you can see here, said the teacher. Said is the repeating verb and it will be decided after a discussion. This one is the repeated speech. Here in this sentence, it has been given first and then the repeating verb. So what should we do here, my dear students? You will have to write down the repeating verb first and then you will have to write the linker according to the very sentence as we have learned in sentence narration. You know, here the repeated speech is it will be decided after a discussion and it is in assertive sentence, and you know assertive sentence, the linker in assertive sentence, the linker is that. So for the first time we will write the repeating verb like the teacher said, and then we will connect these two, that means the repeating verb and the repeated speech with the linker that. Okay. And that is why I have written here that it would be decided after a discussion. Dear students, I think you have understood. Let's have another example. Here, why did you not go to school yesterday? Said the mother to the girl. So, what is the repeating verb here? Said. And the mother is the subject of the repeating verb, and the girl is the object of the repeating verb. Though it is written after the repeated speech, we will have to write it first, and that is why it will be the mother asked the girl why she had not gone to school the previous day. Okay, dear students, I think you have understood this rule too. This one is actually very easy. Let us move to the next. Now it is rule 3. If the reporting space in the middle of the sentences, in indirect speech, it is set beginning of the first sentence and both sentences are joined by and. Okay, let us explain, or let us have an explanation. Sometimes you may find that there are two sentences spoken by the same speaker, but the speaker is at the middle of the two sentences. Okay, at the middle of the two sentences, because the very speaker has told or has said that two, has given the two speeches, but the repeating verb is at the middle. At that time too, your function or your action will be to write the repeating verb first, and then you will add these two sentences spoken by the same speaker with the word and. Okay, let us be clear with an example. Here, direct space, where is the problem? Said the teacher. Let us try again. So here, as you can see, there are two repeated speeches like where is the problem, and the second one is let us try again. And both these speeches have been told by the same speaker, and it is the teacher, and the teacher is written at the middle. My dear students, look at it very carefully, because when you will be asked to write or answer the punctuation marks, you may get these types of sentences, and then here if you are acquainted with these types of sentences, then at that time it will be very easy for your friend to write the answer correctly. Okay, so what is our role? We will write the repeating verb first with the subject, and then we will add the two spaces with the word and. Okay, you may also write the two sentences separately. There will be no problem at this. Okay, so what will be its answer? The teacher asked where the problem was and proposed that they should try again. Okay, you may also write in this way: the teacher asked where the problem was, full stop, and he also proposed that they should try again. Okay, let us have another example to make it clear. I'm watching the boys swimming in the pond, he said. how happy they are. So here Said is the reporting verb, but it is at the middle. And there are two speeches here spoken by the same person, he, like the first one. So the answer will be, he said that he was watching the boys swimming in the pond and exclaimed in joy that they were very happy. Dear students, I think and I hope that you have understood this rule too. So let us move to the next. Rule 4. If several sentences are in the inverted commas, okay? If several sentences are in the inverted commas, let us make it clear. Sometimes you may find that there are two or more sentences or repeated speeches, but there is only one repeating verb. Then what is the way to write the rest of the sentences? Because you have learned how to write the only one sentence with a repeating verb. But if there are more sentences, then what are the verbs? Some verbs, additional verbs are needed to write these sentences. Because suppose there is only one repeating verb, but there are three repeated speeches. And you will write the first repeated speech with the verb, and then what should you do with the rest of the two sentences? Here, this rule will make it clear to you. Okay. In assertive sentence, the repeating verb is changed into added, further added, again said, also said. So these are the additional verb that you will use to write the rest of the sentences. But when the sentence will be in interrogative sentence, you know it will be changed into asked, also asked, further asked, etc. Okay, and when it will be in imperative sentence, the repeating verb is changed into again advised, also requested, further ordered, according to the very sense of the sentence. If the sense of the sentence is an advice, you will use the word advice. Okay, if it is a request, you will use the verb request. If it denotes order, you will use the word order. So in this way, or these verbs, additional verbs will help you to write the additional sentences or the extra sentences. Okay, let us have an example to make it clear. The maid said, "What a bag, can't you walk?" So look, here in this sentence there is only one repeating verb, that is said, but there are two repeated speeches, and the first one is why do you beg, and the second one is can't you walk. Okay, so the answer will be the maid asked him, or the maid asked why he begged, and also asked him if he could not walk. Okay, at the same time you may write in this way, that you will write these two sentences separately. This is also correct, like this: the maid asked him why he begged, full stop. He also asked him if he could not walk. Okay, dear students, let us have another example to make it clear to you. Nila said to me, I have left my fan at home, can you give me one? Okay, so there are two repeated speeches, but the repeating verb is only one, that is said. So what will be its answer? Nila told me that she had left her pen at home and asked if I could give her one. In this way, there is another example for your better understanding. I think you will look at it also. But for time constraints, I am moving to the next slide. So it's rule 5. Replied in the affirmative are written instead of yes. Sometimes you will find sentences with yes, okay, or no. So if there is yes, we will write replied in the affirmative. If it is in present tense, we will write reply in the affirmative. Okay. So if it is past tense, we will write replied in the affirmative, and if there is no, we will write replied in the negative. You will get the rule of no just after this slide. Let us have an example. Did people use stamps in those days? Asked Rafiq. Yes, answered Mr. Jamil. Rafiq asked Mr. Jamil if people had used stamps in those days. Mr. Jamil replied in the affirmative. Okay, so here instead of yes, we have written replied in the affirmative. But sometimes you will find some sentences after yes, and then you will have to write that sentence adding that or said that or and said that, and it is written in rule 6. If any statement is after yes, replied in the affirmative and said that are written. That means for yes, you will write replied in the affirmative, and for the another sentence followed by yes, you will write and said that. Example: have you killed the rats? Said the mayor. Yes, I have killed. So here there is yes, and after this there is another sentence. I have killed, said the piper. The mayor asked the piper if he had killed the rats. The piper replied in the affirmative and said that he had killed, or and he had killed, or and said that he had killed. In this way, you can write the additional sentence followed by the term yes. Have you understood, my dear students? Okay, now it's rule 7. Replied in the negative, I have already said. For no or instead of no, you will have to write replied in the negative, and there if there is another sentence followed by no, you will have to write and say that after replied in the affirmative, and these two rules are written here in rule 7 and rule 8. Example sentence: she said to me, do you like music? I said no, so I replied in the negative. There is no other sentence after no here. So he asked me if I liked music. I replied in the negative. And here, aren't you wasting your time? I said, no, I don't think so. So here there is a sentence after no, and we will write this sentence adding and said that after replied in the negative. So I asked him if he wasn't wasting his time. He replied in the negative and said that he didn't think so. Okay, dear students, let us move to the next slide. Instead of sir, respectfully is written. Okay, very often you will find vocative cases. Okay, vocative case. That means the case we address something. Words using them we address someone, not something. Sorry, address somebody. That is vocative case like sir, brother, friend, sister, uncle. In this way, we address persons. Okay, and for sir, or if there is sir as vocative case, we will write respectfully. Okay, the man said to the manager, may I come in, sir? Here there is sir. So the man respectfully asked the manager if he might go in. The boy said, yes, sir, I think so. The boy respectfully replied in the affirmative and said that he thought so. Okay. And in rule 10, I have already said addressing as a region at the beginning of the sentence instead of sir, friend, sister, brother, mom, etc. Okay, instead of sir, you may also write addressing as sir. Here, The student said, "Sir, I have a problem to solve it." You can write addressing as sir, or at the same time, you can write the student said respectfully or told the teacher respectfully. In this way, you can write respectfully said that, the teacher respectfully said that. So there are lots of ways to write them. You should not be fixed. Okay. Addressing as sir, the student said that he had a problem to solve it. "Are you hungry, my friends?" said the leader. So here the leader has addressed his friends using my friends. So here my friends is the vocative case. So the answer will be addressing as his friends, the leader asked him if they were hungry. Okay, my dear students, I think you have understood it, and very often you will find it. So you will have to be very clear and careful about these two rules. Next, instead of thank you, or you may get like this: thank you, many thanks, thank you very much, in repeated speech. And for this, you will have to write in this way. For the first time, you will write subject, and then thanked, and then object of repeating verb are written. Suppose he said to me, "Thank you," then the answer would be, "He thanked me." The teacher said to me, "Thank you." The teacher thanked me. Ms. Kamal said, "Thank you, Mr. Hawk." Ms. Kamal thanked Mr. Hawk. So for thank you very much, thank you so much, or thanks, we will write following this structure. Okay, my dear students, let us move to rule 12. Instead of good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, happy new year, etc., we should write subject plus wished plus object plus good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Actually, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or these phrases are actually wishes. We wish somebody like happy birthday. When we say happy birthday to someone, actually we wish for him. Okay. When we say good morning, actually we wish for him that his morning should be good. And that is why we should use the term wish. We should use the verb wish for these phrases. For example, we can say, I say to him, good morning. So I wished him good morning. The teacher said to us, good afternoon to all of you. The teacher wished good afternoon to all of us. Father said to them, good evening to all of you. Father wished them good evening to all of them. Okay, so these phrases are actually wishes, or we wish other persons using these phrases, and that is why at the time of changing or making it into indirect speech, we will use the verb wish. Okay, next, rule 13. Instead of part of a sentence or phrase or complete sentence is written according to sense of the speaker. You know, in direct narration or direct speech is the conversation actually. Okay, so at the time of making conversation, very often the speaker uses incomplete sentences. Okay, because it may be an informal conversations also, but interspeech is actually a formal one, and that is why there should be no incomplete sentences here. So the rule is that if there is any incomplete sense or incomplete sentences in direct narration, you will have to write a complete sentence. Okay, for example, we can say, the teacher said, how are you? Okay, it's a complete sentence or it's a complete sentence, but the girl has answered using the word well. So, is it a complete sentence? Is it a sentence? Well, no, it's not a complete sentence. So, if you want to make it complete, you'll have to write I'm well. Okay. So, though in direct narration only oil is written, but in order to turn it into indirect speech, you will have to make it a sentence and then you'll have to change it. So, what should be its sentence? Its sentence should be I am well. Okay. So you should write like that. The girl replied that she was well. Let us have another example. Oppo said to me, what are you doing? I said, eating rice. So eating rice is not a sentence. It is not a sentence. It is a sense. Okay. Using this phrase or using this sense, I have expressed what I am doing or what I was doing. But it is an informal sentence. So what should be its formal or complete sentence? I am eating rice. So at the time of making it into at the time of making indirect speech of this sentence, you will have to turn it writing I am eating rice and then it will be I was eating rice, and that is why here I have written I replied that I was eating rice. My dear students, I think you have understood. Now it's rule 14. Instead of by Allah, by God, by Lord, by Job, by my life, very often at the time of making conversation, okay, we use these terms by Allah. So it's a promise. If it's a by Allah, I have not done that. I want to mean that I can promise in the name of Allah. I can promise by the name of God. So it's a kind of promise. It's a kind of swearing. So if there is like this in direct narration, you will have to write swearing by Allah, swearing by God, swearing by Lord, swearing by my life. In this way, you can write it. Swear means to make promise, to make flash. Okay, let us see an example. By Allah, he replied, I will not leave this place. So, swearing by Allah, he replied that he would not leave that place. You may also write, he swore by Allah and replied that and said that he would not leave that place. Okay. It's your goodbye, goodbye, bye bye, see you again. So, these are the words we use to bid somebody goodbye. Okay, to say goodbye. So here we will use the word or the verb bait or use the structure, use this structure subject plus bait plus subject plus goodbye. Okay, the leader said goodbye my friends. The leader bade his friends goodbye. Okay, and now it is rule 16. Present participle phrases are written at the beginning of the sentence. Sometimes you will get present participle and they are written at the beginning with the repeating verb, and you shouldn't make any sentence, make any signs actually, because it is a part of the repeating verb and you will have to write it at the beginning of the sentence. Like, are you brothers? Say, asked the mistress of the house, turning to the boys. So we will write these phrase or present participle phrase at the beginning, like turning to the boys. The mistress of the house asked if they were brothers. Okay, last but not the least, rule 17. If a question mark is ending of assertive sentence, you will have to write being surprised. Very often you may get puzzled finding the fact that the sentence is assertive but there is question mark. Okay, so uh, is it a wrong one? No. Actually, in order to express our surprise, we may write in this way. The sentence is assertive, but there is a question mark. So being surprised, we will write for this one. Suppose Luna said to me, "You have remembered how she looked all these years?" So the sentence is assertive, as you can see here. You have remembered. You is the subject, and that's the verb. So it's an assertive sentence, no doubt. But here there is an interrogation mark. Note of interrogation. Many students think that it is a wrong done by the teacher or person said. Actually, it is not a wrong. It's not a wrong thing. It's not incorrect. It's correct to the point. And to make our surprise, we to express our surprise, to make surprise, we use these types of sentences. And for this, we'll have to write being surprised. Lena asked me if I had remembered how she looked all these years. So that's another rule. Actually, this rule is not important, and at the same time, these types of sentences are not actually asked, and that is why at rule 17, I have said this is the last rule here. Uh, you may sometimes get sentences without any repeating verb, sorry, without any listener or speaker, okay, or the subject or the listener or the speaker or the listener may be absent from the sentence. In that cases, you will write the person spoken to for the subject or the listener. For the subject, you will write, sorry, for the subject, you will write the speaker, and for the listener, you will write the person spoken to. In the easiest term, you will write the speaker, the listener, the speaker, and the listener, or the speaker or the person spoken to. Here there is an example. Okay, send the following phrases into direct speech, and this is your homework. You will write this following what I have said today. I think it will come to a great use to you, my dear students. You have understood me, and this is the hope of mine. You will write this down, write the answer of this presentation down, and then if there is any problem, you must make a comment into my YouTube channel. Thank you all.